bit about Reverend Kathleen Flynn that you may or may not already know. So Reverend Kathleen moved from Roseburg, Oregon last summer, joining the spiritual care team at Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center in August 2017. She is the volunteer prayer chaplain trainer here at Unity Santa Fe. Kathleen has been involved in development of Unity's prayer chaplain program since 2001. Kathleen is an ordained interfaith minister following completion of her graduate program in applied theology from Maryhurst University in Portland, Oregon. She became a spiritual director soon after. Kathleen's many years as a hospice chaplain in Oregon provide her with skills and abilities to support others in challenging times. After 3 years as a senior minister to a small Unity congregation in Roseburg, she was ordained a Unity minister at the Unity People's Conference in San Antonio, Texas last June. She was honored to have Reverend Brandlin and licensed Unity teacher Sylvia Wheeler present during this special time. A workshop and retreat facilitator, Kathleen enjoys supporting growth processes in adults and children. She is a trained soul collage facilitator and continues the practice wherever she lives, drawing others together and expanding and healing self-exploration through therapeutic art. Kathleen was a lifelong resident of Alaska until she moved to Oregon in 2001. She has 2 adult children and 3 grandchildren who live way too far away in New York and Alaska. Now let's give a warm Unity Santa Fe welcome to our own representative.
Good morning. Good morning. The brave ones are here. The topic is forgiveness. What does that bring up in you? Would you bring my mic up a little? Thank you. I learned when I was in Roseburg for 3 years, I approached that subject, forgiveness, a few times. And we all got to be knowing each other better over the course of time. And there was a workshop, and in the middle of it was this big, huge forgiveness piece. And you know, I really loved the people who were able to tell me, I don't want to go there. I don't want to forgive. I'm just not going to do it. So, look who's here today, the brave ones. Either that or you didn't know what the topic was. Oh, see? Great, come right on up front. If anyone has a hearing issue, come on up, or if you, like me, have to have glasses to see the close-up stuff. So I attended this workshop a week ago, and it's speaking from your heart. That means without notes. I almost made it, but then I said, you know, could we have that music stand, and at least I could have bullet points. So I want to tell you that I'm moving forward with that, and I see a couple of my comrades from that workshop here. In fact, Pam was one who attended that, and she spoke beautifully this morning. So thank you, Catherine, for your beautiful song. Thank you, Brian, for the always beautiful music. And this Karen. Did I call you Karen? No. Okay. This Karen for doing a lovely job as Miss Brendolyn is away. So I want to tell you a little bit about that. Brendolyn is in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and she is there to accept her certificate in spiritual direction. That's a 2-year program. And when I became a spiritual director years ago, the minister, Victoria, who was here last week, did not know what that term meant. In fact, their Unity folks didn't know what that meant. Spiritual direction, the easiest way to explain it, at least for me, is that whenever you meet with a client, there are 3 chairs in the room. One for the client, one for the spiritual director, and one for spirit. So those kinds of sessions where we work with folks are always directed to the inner being, to our own divinity, to exploring and finding the answers to our own questions, our own circumstances. So that's where she is. And I said, Brendolyn, We're doing this book, Living Originally. This is Robert Brumet, who is, by the way, Benevolent's spiritual director. And so we're going through this. And the chapters that we're covering today are forgiveness and benevolence. Now, I don't think you can kind of squeeze both of those in the same short talk. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to talk about forgiveness, and then when we go into our meditation, we're going to segue into benevolence. So I said to Gwendolyn, I said, you know, that's really a tough talk. Convenient that you're out of town. No, I actually, it's all in divine order. I'll tell you why. My birthday's no secret because you would have found out at this point in my talk. So when these come, Daily Word comes, in May and June, I always look right away. I want to see what is the word for my birthday. Anybody want to venture a guess what it is? Forgiveness. Yes. So Gwendolyn already knew that, right? So that's just fine that we can take that to heart and know that it is in divine order. And I feel very privileged to talk about this subject. The only crisis I ever have talking is that I'm a chaplain, a hospital chaplain now, was in hospice for years. And I'm better at listening than speaking. Most of the time I'm listening. So today I'm speaking and you are the chaplains. Our topic, there's that quote, hatred never ceases hatred. Only love can do that. Beautiful Buddhist scripture. How often do we have to remind ourselves of that? I'd like to get real political and take it a little further and talk about war, but I won't because that'll detract from what we want to stay focused on today. So I invite you to engage in this topic with me. You know, we were going to sing the song, Free, Unlimited, I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains to bind me, and we changed it, but I still want to talk about that song because I want to ask you, you know the song, most people that come to Unity, how many people know that song? You know it, yeah? We could probably sing it right now. And what I want to ask you is, are you free and unlimited? Are there chains that are binding you? Now, I know there are prayer chaplains in this room, and I'm going to ask them to raise their hand, if you would please. Pam's here, she's not raising her hand. Drew, yeah, there's Patty, there's Debbie, and Larry. So these folks, part of being a prayer chaplain is a commitment. We sign a commitment that we will work on forgiveness every day. It's our practice. So I know that there's a few people in this room that are probably okay with this. So I'm going to ask them to do something really special for all the rest of us. I'm going to ask them to do the other thing that we ask prayer chaplains to do, and that is to hold sacred space. That just means that they are in their devotional mode, that they are going to hold sacred space from their heart for anyone here or anyone not here that might be troubled by something in their heart that they just keep going over and over, a family issue, something way in the past, or something that we have a very hard time forgiving ourselves for. So Jesus said this. He said, forgive 70 times 7. We have a group that meets on Sunday night, and we did this topic last week. We talked about forgiveness after our meditation, and a couple of us went, wow, because somebody brought up the 70 times 7. Who's a mathematician? 70 times 7 is how many? 490. Okay, that's a lot. And I always thought it meant, okay, then, you know, in my life I probably have 490 things to forgive. what came to us was, all right, I forgave that, and here it is again. Especially when we're talking about ourselves, when we're thinking about something we want to forgive in ourselves. 70 times 7. That really means keep on doing that. Keep on offering the forgiveness every time that comes up. See, because Jesus understood that. That's the point of the lesson. And some of us have to reach a certain place in our life before we get that. I mean, I interpreted it, as I said, the other way. So I'm going to tell you a story. And if you're following in the book, the story's from the book. It's about a couple of Zen monks traveling a road together. And part of their journey, they have to ford a river. They have to cross a river. And as they approach the river, one monk just walks right across this shallow river, probably more like a creek, and gets to the other side. But there was a young woman standing there, and she's uncertain about crossing. And the other monk picked up on that. Now, when you're a monk, you don't even look at a woman, much less touch her. He picked the woman up, carried her across the water, and put her down. And the other monk, and he began their walk. The monk who had carried the woman across the water felt the tension, felt that he had some issues with his comrade. So finally, the comrade says to him, you know, that's against everything that we have said we will do. What you did, carrying that woman across the river. And to which the monk who carried the woman responded, you know what? I put that down an hour ago, and you are still churning on this. Many of us do that. Brave woman. Yes. Yeah. Or trying to go to sleep at night, and you review your day, and then up pops that thing, and you said, oh gosh, I wish I'd said that differently. Oh, I wish I'd acted. I could have done that better. You know, it is in the moment of, it's living in the present. And one of the things I really began to understand this time as we talked about forgiveness is our inability to forgive is really about wanting to change the past, right? We can't let go of the fact that we wanted it to be different. What is that? That's living in the past. There's past, present, and future. Just a side note, if you futurize a lot, that's really anxiety producing. And so what we want to be doing is to be living in the present. And we want to be allowing and releasing these things that we observe in ourselves, because it's all just a lesson, isn't it? Isn't this just a lesson? Who was the lesson for between the monks? The lesson was for the one who was critical. So how do you forgive the unforgivable? That's always a tragically hard one to consider. The atrocities. And I want to tell you that there probably are people in this room who have experienced some of the unforgivable, what seems unforgivable. And I don't want to minimize that. I don't want to make that small. I'll tell you a story about a situation that I lived in Alaska. This is a small town. All the towns in Alaska are about 10,000 people except for Anchorage. That's where the bulk of the population lives, or up north in Fairbanks. And this is a difficult story to recall. There was a scout leader in Homer, Alaska. He was the Citizen of the Year in January that year. He was given an award. I was working as a human resources person, an assistant to the city manager, and I did primarily human resources. And I began to hear stories, some of our single parent moms, concerns about a scout leader that seemed to find opportunities to be alone with their boys, and they were nervous and afraid, concerned. And I offered to speak to the police chief. Now, mind you, this is a small town. There's 75 employees. And so I spoke first to the police chief, and then I spoke to the city manager. And I said, you know, I think this might warrant some investigation. Well, this was the mid-'80s. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. And the scout troop went on. By spring, the truth came out. How sad for these boys who trusted in an organization that said, you can trust us. How sad that we weren't quicker to move. How do you forgive that? I asked myself that for years. How do you forgive that? I knew these kids, I knew their moms. Well, I fast forward to, and I'm sharing this because I want to tell you, we can bring forgiveness up and forgive 70 times 7, but it also can be instantaneous. I really believe that now. I was sitting in a unity class in Lake Oswego, and Reverend Victoria, who spoke here last Sunday, was talking about forgiveness. And boy, I'll tell you, I get blinders on sometimes, and I was trying to be so open and hear everything she had to say, but she's saying something that I just can't quite agree with. She said, you know, forgiveness can be instantaneous. And I kind of said in the class, I don't think so. I think it's a process. I really believe that. And she said, she's never one to argue. She just would say, think about that. So we finished the class, and it was one of those nights in Oregon. Well, they're not so rare, where the rain is coming down. A lot of here in St. Fe. I mean, yes, I'd like a little more water too, but it's a vast difference from Portland, Oregon. So the rain was coming down, the windshield wipers were doing this and not keeping up, and I'm on my way home, and all of this is rolling through my mind, and I'm going, how can that be? How can you forgive? Was stopped at a red light, windshield wipers doing this, and this is so much on my mind, and there was a start, because out of the side vision, my peripheral vision, I saw an image of a man sitting in my car. There was no man in my car. And what I saw was this scout leader. His name is Jerry Lewis. He spent a lot of years in prison in Alaska for this. But I saw him sitting there. And in the dark, at night, in the rain, I remember being just fixed on him. And my eyes went to the center, his heart chakra. And one of Unity's principles is that we all have a spark of divinity, and I saw the radiation of that spark. And the tears came. And the man that I had wished were dead, I said to this image, this apparition, whatever, I forgive you. I don't absolve you, you're not going to take up any more space in my heart or my mind. I guess forgiveness can be instantaneous. It can be. Or, as Robert Brumet says, if it's not today, then just allow that it will be. It will be. Someday it will be right for you to forgive this. So what I want to talk about at this moment is what unforgiveness does to us. I have a minister, a friend in Bellingham, Washington, a unity minister, and I was watching him just on YouTube, and he did this little thing on forgiveness. I mean, all these things just keep coming. You know you're doing this, the universe just says, okay, well, you need this, and you need that, and you need to read daily word on your birthday. And I love what he said about that heart chakra, that energy, wherever love is in us, and I think it's in every cell in our body, but this is a great visual. Imagine it that it's a multifaceted crystal, and that we radiate light from this crystal in us. However, when we have unforgiveness, it's all bogged up. There is no ability to radiate light. We're still stuck. We can't move forward. We can't share our light without clearing that from our being. It has no place in our divinity of forgiveness. And we are mirrors to each other as we do this work. He said, you just cannot shine. You just cannot be the potential that Fillmore talked about, that we can be. You know, we always, I think us unity folks, at least for me, I think of potentialities and possibilities for human beings. So we would like to be able to be all that we came here to be. So I invite you to take out one of those, you know, those little glasses cleaning cloths, aren't they amazing? Mm-hmm. Just take one of those out. Imagine your little light as a crystal and start polishing it and polishing it. And see just how much you really can forgive. So we are going to take ourselves into meditation. And in this meditation, I'm going to invite you, before we go into meditation, to take your prayer slip out. And have it handy, because in the meditation, you may want to write something down. You may want to release something. You may want to give something up and put it in the prayer basket up here at the end of the service in our ritual. So if you've got that handy. The other thing I want to mention before we go into meditation is that we have prayer chaplains here today. They will be standing right here and right here. If you bump into anything that's really uncomfortable, if you just simply want to have a prayer affirming where you are with your forgiveness work, please. They're ready to support you. They're ready to be your prayer partner. Support you in prayer. Are you ready? Okay. Yes, me too.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I
take one step in front of the other as we awaken in the morning to a new fresh day. We center ourselves in possibility. And we ask the question today, is this the day I'm going to release what is holding me down? Is this the day I am going to open my heart center, where I'm going to polish the crystal of my being, where I am going to be loving kindness 100%. I invite you to take a moment as we honor this idea of forgiveness, to examine in your life where there is a forgiveness that you're more than ready to release, an unforgiveness that you're ready to release. It might be your parents, it might be something that's happening with your daughter, or your son, or a grandchild, or another family member, a sibling. It might be a work situation. I invite you just to breathe into your very center. Allow yourself to go there and be held in the spirit and love of your own divinity. We are never alone. Allow that unforgiveness to dissipate like the dew in the new morning sun. Allow yourself to breathe deeply, knowing you are perfect just as you are. And the light of forgiveness shines on you so that you might shine for someone else. Just take a moment to go into the silence. And if you feel so moved to write on your prayer slip, I support you in doing